Iowa, 1924. A farm family sits at the kitchen table around a letter from London. It reports, in confident officialese, that the great matter is nearly settled. The estate of Sir Francis Drake, the Elizabethan sea captain, dead 328 years, has been located, litigated, and will soon be released. The estate began, the letters explain, as Drake's plunder of Spanish treasure fleets. Left unclaimed and compounding for 3 centuries, it is now worth, the number varies by telling, $22 billion. Enough to buy the entire state of Iowa several times over. The heirs and their backers will split it 100-fold on every dollar they've contributed to the legal fight. The family at the table has been contributing for 4 years. They will contribute for 10 more. The man they're funding lives in a fine London flat, wears Savile Row, and keeps a mistress and a chauffeur on their remittances. His name is Oscar Hartzell, an Iowa farm boy who discovered the Drake estate the honest way. His own mother fell for it first. This is the story of the con that 70,000 Americans funded for 2 decades. Through drought, through the Depression, through the trial that exposed it, and beyond. Not because the evidence was good, because the hope was. Oscar Merrill Hartzell grows up doing brutal, honest work. Farmhand, stockyard man, deputy sheriff for a stretch. The kind of Iowa life where money arrives an acre and a season at a time. The Drake inheritance swindle, meanwhile, is already an antique. Since the 1800s, con artists have milked Americans with English surnames using the same fairy tale. An unclaimed fortune in chancery, blocked by scheming British authorities, needing only legal fees to shake loose. It survives because it is calibrated to the exact fantasy of the immigrant Midwest. The old country owes you. Around 1915, 2 traveling operators, a woman named Sudie Whitaker and a partner, Milo Lewis, sell the dream to farm families across Iowa. Among their marks, Hartzell's mother, who puts in thousands the family can barely spare. Oscar investigates, intending, the story goes, to get his mother's money back. Instead, somewhere between the ledgers and the letters, he has the revelation that separates him from every honest son in Iowa. This business is better than farming. Within a few years, he hasn't exposed the operation. He owns it. In 1922, Hartzell makes the move that turns a rural hustle into an institution. He relocates to London to be near the courts, near the estate, near the secret negotiations. From here on, his marks never see him. They see envelopes with London postmarks, which in Depression-era Iowa carry the authority of Scripture. Hartzell industrializes the con with a structure any modern scheme would recognize. He recruits agents across the Midwest, often respected local men, true believers themselves, who sign up donators at church suppers and grange halls for a cut of the take. The pitch is communal, patriotic, almost devotional. We are a syndicate of honest Americans, wronged by British courts, and every dollar buys a share of the settlement, 100 to 1 when the estate opens. Note the word donations, not investments. That would invite regulators. Contributions to a legal fight. And there is no paper to redeem, no interest to pay, no bathtub of cash to run on. Sarah Howe had to pay 8% monthly. Ponzi owed doubles in 90 days. Hartzell's product costs him nothing. He sells pure anticipation, and anticipation never comes due. The only maintenance the machine needs is narrative. And Hartzell is a virtuoso of the almost there. The settlement is perpetually weeks away, delayed by the king's illness, by secret sessions of Parliament, by the ecclesiastical court, by international complications that only more money can smooth. Every delay is proof of how big the thing is. Every skeptic is an agent of the British Crown. By the late 20s, remittances from the Midwest, often thousands of dollars a week, fund a London life of tailored idleness. Farm families mortgage land. Some skip seed corn to make the monthly contribution. And when the crash of 1929 detonates the world economy, something perverse happens. Donations increase. The broker in town proved to be a liar. The bank failed. But Drake's billions, safely outside the fallen system, become the last lottery ticket in America. Despair is the best salesman the scheme ever hired. The unraveling begins not in Iowa, but in London, where British authorities, tired of a decade of an American living grandly on undeliverable mail, investigate, find no estate, no cases, no filings, nothing, and in 1933 deport him as an undesirable alien. Federal agents receive him at the dock. The charge, mail fraud, the workhorse statute that felled Ponzi. The trial in Sioux City, Iowa, in the fall of 1933 should be a formality. The government shows there is no estate, that Drake died without. This is the detail to savor, that the actual estate of Sir Francis Drake was settled in the 1590s publicly, and that English law had long since made such ancient claims legally impossible. Every dollar went to Hartzell's pocket. Now watch the courtroom steps, because this is the part of the story that outlives the story. The halls are packed with Hartzell's victims, supporting him. Donators pass the hat to pay his defense. Thousands of dollars in fresh contributions arrive during the trial itself. When he is convicted and sentenced to 10 years, believers across the Midwest denounce the verdict as exactly what the British wanted. Final proof the estate was real. Or why would they fight so hard? Read that again. The conviction strengthened the faith. The scheme had crossed the line from fraud into belief system, and evidence now only fed it. From prison, Hartzell's lieutenants keep collecting, an estimated $500,000 after his conviction, until the government prosecutes the successor ring too in 1935. Hartzell himself increasingly untethered. He had come to believe he was owed the estate, perhaps believed all of it, is examined, declared insane, and transferred to the Federal Medical Center, where he dies in 1943. Total take over 2 decades, on the order of $2 million Depression-era dollars, from as many as 70,000 contributors, many of whom went to their graves still waiting for Drake's ship to come in. Set Hartzell beside the others in our gallery. Ponzi and Miller ran machines that had to explode. Their promises had due dates. Kruger's empire had auditors circling. Cassie Chadwick could be undone by a single question to a single man. But Hartzell found the invulnerable design, a promise with no date, no paper, and no counterparty. A story whose every failure could be narrated as progress. Which is why, of every scheme in this series, his is the one most alive today. The overseas fortune that needs one final fee. The settlement that's nearly through the courts. The coin that's about to list. Anticipation sold by the month. The Drake estate never existed, but it never died either. It just changes names, and spare a last thought for the kitchen tables. The cruelty of the fraud wasn't just the missing money, it was that for 14 years it worked as hope. It got families through droughts and foreclosures, gave the ruined Midwest a horizon to look at. Hartzell stole savings, but he was paid, mostly in something people handed over gladly. That is the deepest lesson this channel keeps finding. The best cons don't take. They give something that feels better than the truth. The playbook. What Oscar Hartzell adds to the manual. Rule 1. A promise with no date can never be broken. Sell the horizon, not the harvest. Rule 2. Take donations, not investments. Hope doesn't issue receipts, and regulators can't audit faith. Rule 3. Every delay is proof. If the fight is this long, imagine how big the prize must be. The paper empire ledger now stands at roughly 277 million stolen. It will grow, because money was never paper. It's belief, wearing paper's clothes. Next time on Paper Empire, no con man at all, just 2 speculators, a failed corner on copper, and 3 weeks in 1907, when America's banks fell like dominoes until one private citizen locked the nation's financiers in his library and refused to open the door until they saved the country with their own money. The panic that built the Federal Reserve. Next. Subscribe.